I want to make another whopping big bowl. So big that the mould doesn't even fit on my camera. Well, it would if I moved the camera further away. But that is zoomed right out. This is big. I haven't measured it. I should know, but I don't. Anyway, I'm going to do another one of those bowls that you shape after you've made them. So after you've made a flat piece, you know, shape it up, that sort of thing, because I learned a bit from doing the last one. So I'm going to try some different colours. Now this one is going to be for me. Around the edges, I'm going to go for using these up. Had these for absolutely ages. They are actual metal flakes, I think. It's certainly not glitter, it's heavy. So we're going to start with those around the edges, and then I've got Supreme White. I have got White Shimmer, what's left of it. You can see my pots are getting a bit low. I've got the Floating Silver Powder, because that worked so well last time. And I've got some Gunmetal Grey in it. I don't even know what brand this was. This one's using up. These are some of my really old stock that I've had for years. That's a mica powder. And I've got this beautiful mica powder, which is one of my favourites, which when you mix it up goes like this deep coppery red. So, yeah, mostly monochrome with a splash of colour in the middle is what I'm thinking. Right. Let's get my gloves on, we'll get started. So first thing I'm going to put this is some more of my old stock that I want to use up, by the way. I have got some beautiful big chunky glitters and things that we could use instead, but no, I thought I'll use this up because it's been kicking around for ages and I don't know why I've not used it really. This is one of those things I can't do left-handed. I'm fairly ambidextrous at some things, but this I'm really not. So I'm going to turn it. I want it just round the edges again. You can see it's very nice and mirrory. Mirrory? Is that a word? Am I inventing words again? And I'm not worrying too much about it keeping it exactly to the edges. I'll try left-handed. Okay, so I can do it left-handed. Yeah, I'm not worrying about it going splashing in a bit. I don't want a sort of sudden line. There we are. Some more old stock used up. It's a useful looking jar, I'll keep that. So the resin I'm using is the Apex One Coat. It's very thick. Look how thick that is. So it's a high viscosity jobby. You can demould it in a couple of hours if it's in a warm room. I usually leave it a bit longer to be on the safe side. Now, it's great for shallower pours. Though that does mean I'm going to have to watch it. And keep checking it every half an hour for when it gets to that stage when it's solid but bendy still that we need for this sort of thing. So I'm just going to carry on stirring this up and I will be back with you shortly. Then I've decanted that into several different cups. But the first thing I'm going to do is just chuck some clear, a rim of clear around this silver because I want to make sure that has time to settle into the silver and I don't want the colours to overwhelm the silver too much. So let's get that in there and then whatever's left of the clear will be for my chucking it in the centre at the end. So let me get the wipe, clean my gloves. Right, first colour. Do I want the red around the edges? I think I do because that's going to be a nice contrast to the silver. It's like a fantastic coppery red. And I'm going to put quite a bit because I want it reasonably opaque. Let's see if that's enough. See what I mean? It is coppery more than flame red, and that's kind of what I wanted. Yes, and that's pretty opaque already. Just give it a bit more of a stir. I might need a load more of this yet. We'll see. I'm just going to go around the inside of that clear. Just, yeah, I think I wanted to have a bit of a red burst in the centre as well, didn't I? So we might need some more red towards the end. And I am mindful that as of the way it poured out of my cup, we're going to end up with less round the back. I should have been a bit more measured about how I poured it. And I shouldn't have done that splat either. Never mind. This is only for me. Alright, now what? Now I think we want the white shimmer next. This is beautiful. As you can see, it's really gone down. I use this so much. It's just lovely. Again, we're not going to need much. There is a danger, of course, that will dilute this into like a pinky colour. But we'll see. So again, that's just nice. Yeah. Now that's a pigment paste. So the powder, that red powder, what's that called? I'll tell you what it's called in a minute when I tip the jar upside down. But that's from Just For You Online, as is this one, the white shimmer. In fact, all of the colours I'm using today are from Just For You Online. They do make some of my favourite colours. I've decided I'm just going to go with the wiggle over there. It wants to do it as soon as I went to splat a bit, so hey. These little paper cups, by the way, you can keep reusing them. I tend to clean them out as best I can and then just let it cure, because then of course you've just got a nice hard base in there of, oops, whatever colour it was you were using. Doesn't matter. Not going to disturb it when you mix it, the next lot on top, is it? So I do use these over and over again. I used to swear by the silicone pots, but I get fed up of cleaning them. But I do use these probably a dozen times before I chuck them, so I don't feel too bad about it. I do still use the silicone pots sometimes. Just I can't always be bothered with the cleaning. You know what, I've even been known to take the pots in the bath with the, yeah, and the moulds and things. I take them in the bath with me sometimes. Now I can't find the lid. Oh, there's what I was going to say. Can't find the lid to this. Yeah, this reddy colour is called, oh, Red Satin. There you are. That's what that one is. Next, let's go in with a little bit of the floating silver. Now, we're only going to want a tiny bit of this, and I know this by experience because it takes over a bit. So we're going to be putting a decent amount of the powder, but not too much resin. That should do. Now some of it will actually float to the surface, some will go through to the other side. It will just kind of do its thing, and it's quite, as I say, you don't need much for it to go an awful long way, so go steady if you use any of this stuff. Splat. Oh well, we've got a splat. Right, where's that gunmetal grey? That was the other one I was going to put a lot in, wasn't it? Oh, still got a bit of room in the middle, so I'll go in with this. Now I'm going to chuck a load of this in, because you know what I was saying about the cheaper pigments? You do need more, I find. Although that is rather more than I probably needed, to be fair. But like I said, I'm using these up, so I did kind of want this to be quite intense as well. That should do. Now, you notice I'm not being too fussy about stirring these. If it goes a bit blob, a bit, I get a few colour blobs in it, I'm not going to panic, because this is going to be quite a, as you can see, it's not even ended up with a round shape here. It's going to be quite almost like geode type effect, I think. So I want a lot of this, and then we're going to go back in with the red in the middle, I think. And I'm just thinking on what sparkle do I put in the middle, because I've already used up all the silver sparkle around the edges. And I'm not sure I want silver sparkle in the middle anyway. So I'm going to carry on pouring all this black out, well, gunmetal grey. In fact, I might drizzle a little line, while it's drizzling so thin, I might drizzle a little line around the edge as well. Now, one thing I have noticed is this table isn't level, which is something I need to get fixed. But in the meantime, what I did with the last one was I kept turning it, which did mean the colours pulled and dragged further than you would normally get, but it kind of worked, so I'm just going to do that for today. Remember, this resin is very, very viscous, so it doesn't move quite as much as most other resins would anyway, which is quite handy on this occasion. So I've got to make some decisions on that centre. I tend to like to put a bit of a drizzle of white around, so we will mix up a bit of white. If I can find a pot to do it in. Here we are, Supreme White. Now this is another pigment from Just For You Online. I have made some videos on making your own pigment pastes, by the way. If you're interested, have a look in amongst my videos. I'll put you a link. I'll try and remember to put you a link. What I have found though, verdict on it, yeah, you can make your own pigment pastes. And yeah, they'll be okay. You can make them quite decent actually. I do a really nice white one. But by the time you've bought the ingredients to make it, you may as well have just bought a pre-made one. However, I still do it just to use up the last of some, some of these mica powders that I could do with using up. I might make those into pastes, simply because then you don't tend to get, you sometimes get blobs. I'm probably going to get it with this, where you haven't mixed it in quite fully, even though it looked like you had when it was in the pot. And yeah, it kind of avoids that. It makes your mixing quicker and easier too, and it's really good fun to do. But it's not something I'm going to do as an alternative to actually just buying them if the colours are readily available, because it's just not it's not the best use of my time, and it doesn't really save. It really doesn't. So what I'm going to do now is just go around the centre of this black, and it's going wiggly because that's the way I'm pouring. It just is. And then we're going to go around here. And then I think I'm just going to go a little bit of a wiggly line around the outer edges. Because we all know white does weird things. Say weird things. It kind of sinks and you see it pulling and pushing through the colour and stuff. It does some very odd stuff, does white. And it'll just break up the rings really. Right, I'm coming towards the end of that now. So as you can see, there's no science to this whatsoever. Just chucking it in. And now, do I want some more red? I think I do. Right, I'm going to mix up a bit more red. And I'm going to end up needing some more clear for in the centre, aren't I? I hope the colour is coming over well on camera. It's a nice sunny day in here. Yeah, this is natural light. Nice sunny bright day in England today. Freezing cold. Thickest frost ever. So I'm just going to let that fill the middle up. And then yeah, the final layer is just going to be chuck a load of clear in really, I think. I've got a bit of silver left. I might put a bit more, let's go for a little blob of the silver in the centre. That will do it. Funny how that, I've just gone with it with what the shape wants to do, and I know there's a void there. I am keeping my eye on that. Come on out, you can do it. So I am going to just go and mix up some clear, and we'll chuck it in the centre, and then I might poke about with a stick a bit. You know what I mean. Back in a sec. Just using up the last little bit of this gunmetal grey. It's gathered again in the bottom of the cup, so I thought I'd just get rid of it around the edges. Just kind of wanting to darken this down a bit. Can you see how, because of my unlevel table, it's running towards me? The trouble is, levelling tables aren't big enough. So I am going to be talking to one of the suppliers soon and suggest as a new product, a double-sized levelling table. What do you think, everyone? Let me know in the comments. Would an extra big levelling table be useful for like when you've got multiple projects on the go, or big ones like this? What do you think? I know I want one. I can get Mark to make me one, but if there's some mileage in it, we could perhaps talk to one of the suppliers. Right, that's it. I've got more of the Just Clear mixed up here. Let's go chucking it in. Just going to lob it in the centre, and I'm kind of aiming for that spot which has moved. I'm going to do its first turn actually while it's like this. I really must get Mark on the case with levelling this tabletop up for me. This was originally just my desk for when I was doing live online training. So it didn't matter then, you see. There's a load of bubbles in this. Do not panic, do not panic. This stuff degasses amazingly well, especially considering it's such a viscous one. I stirred it too fast because this is my... I'm kind of panicking and trying to get my last coat in, my last dollop in, before it starts to cure, because this stuff is quite quick. Don't need to panic too much. I mean, your pot time's a good half an hour or more. But, you know, really, some of this has been in here a while now, and it is quite warm in here today, so... I stirred a bit too fast, and that's what happens, look. And my little gaps closing up there. Right, I'm going to let this settle and see what it does for 20 minutes or so. Make sure it's degassed okay, and I'm going to keep turning it to try to sort out this off-centre thing a bit. But as you can see, the colours are starting to do their magic. So, and that's kind of what I wanted, just a bit of the colour going into around that silver, but not too much. So I will probably leave this on time lapse for you actually, and I will see you when it's at that bendy but firm stage. This is kind of doing its thing, and I've put some extra glitter around the edge. I found my pot of Rebel glitters, so I've gone a bit mad with the glitter, but this isn't kind of doing what I really wanted it to do. I think maybe it's, I don't know, the slope of the desk isn't helping, that's for sure. I've put a bit more glitter in the centre. This is going to end up being a glitter fest. Anyway, what I thought I would do, as it isn't doing what I wanted it to do anyway, is do some bits of this sort of thing. Pulling it in towards the centre, sort of almost wishing I'd carried on doing the rings of colour rather than trying to dump in the middle, to be honest, because I think that's maybe what spoilt it. But I just thought I'd go around and do this and just play with it. Why not? That's what I did with the last one, and it kind of worked. And my glittery bit I just put in the centre keeps moving, so I'm going to move that back. Probably should have waited till it had thickened up even more. It's only 5 minutes on, really. Anyway, that's that. And then I might go in between, in the middle of each of these, and do a bit of pulling outwards, like so. So we should end up with a very fine leaf pattern almost, petal pattern, I don't know. It's going to keep moving, the other one did, because of this slope. I'm not going to do any more of these until this sloping desk is sorted. Or until somebody's made me a double-sized levelling table, because this is just silly, isn't it? Yeah. I love my little glass levelling table, it's fantastic. The Resin one. I had before I had a wooden one, and I think it might have been the heat from my heat mat and everything, just warped it over time, which was a great shame. But that's why I don't use my wooden one anymore. And it was from a big brand name as well. There we are. So that glitter in the centre is now scattered all over the place. That's fine, I don't have an issue with that. I've decided. But I think that's now looking quite interesting. I'm going to leave that and we'll see how we go from there. Sorry if you can see my reflection. I have taken my respirator off because I was steaming it up and it was going all weird. I think it's because I've got wet hair. So, bad move. Don't do that, folks. Keep your respirators on. Yeah, I'm running a risk here. Absolutely do not recommend you do that. Having said that, I see a lot of crafters whose reflections you can see, some very big name ones too, whose reflections you can see in the resin, and they're not wearing respirators either. It's their choice, it's their risk, isn't it? But as you may have seen my reflection there, I feel like I have to explain. I have got the windows all wide open. I don't do that regularly either. And I have got extractor fans going and things like that. So, yes. And I'm now going to get myself out of this room and not watch it for too long. I'll be back in half an hour just to see if this is starting to firm up as we wanted. And I'll see you later. Okay, so this did all slide to one side, but look, I've got some weird cells going on and I think I like it anyway. Right, I need to make this into a bowl now, don't I? I've forgotten my gloves again, haven't I? Let's do some serious hand washing in a minute. Let's have a look at what the back looks like. Not terribly exciting. Got some sharp edges to trim off afterwards by the look of it, those little bits of flake. Look, it's nice and bendy. I could make a taco shaped bowl. No, I'm not going to do that. Right, here we are. Now, trying to find the centre is the interesting bit. Hang on, let's do it that way. Right, centre-ish. And turn. That should work, shouldn't it? No, it's not going to slide symmetrically anyway, is it? And it's going to curvy up all unevenly. And yeah, you people who do this a lot, I don't know how you get it so perfect. I suppose it's just lots of fiddling, is it? I don't know. Let's push it right in and fiddle faddle with it afterwards. Is that a word? Have I invented another word? Fiddle faddle. Does it have to be symmetrical? Look at that. Oh, for God's sake. I think that's where it might be a little bit thinner because the work surface wasn't flat. Moral of this story is get your work surface blinking flat, doesn't it? I'm conscious that I need to move quite quickly with this. This is going to make for a deeper bowl doing it this way, isn't it? Yeah, I need to move quite quickly with this because obviously this is starting to cure as we speak. I'm trying to move these folds around a bit more. You know what? I'm going to go back to plan A. Right, where's the middle? There's the middle. About there. Right. Go back to doing it like this. Now, something I saw somebody do was tape these edges instead. So shall we try that? Get some really strong tape if I'm... Oh, there's a question. This might be the strongest I've got. Let's try it. Get a nice big piece and see if we can go... Put this down. How far up the sides does it come? Nearly to the top. Right, let's go like this. Is that going to hold? What I can do is turn it over and tape it completely up and round. That might stick better. So let's just get these on to hold first. See if we can get it basically held, and then I'll it kind of feels like it's staying in place. Is that about in the middle still? Yeah. suppose if you want to do a deeper one, you just use a smaller bowl, would you? Just hope this tape doesn't mark the resin as it's still soft. The bowl did last time, only slightly. I mean, you really have to look to see it, but it did, which was a bit of a shame. Now, I'm not sure I've got this entirely central, but it's going to be near enough. Yeah, that's pretty close. Okay, I thought I'd have to tape up and over, but no. I think that looks pretty good, actually. These might be slightly narrower. Is that one slightly narrower? I suppose I can put something under that. Anyway, I'm going to put this out of the way because I've got something else I'm working on at the moment, so let's get rid of that. We'll put that to one side, and I'm going to use this just to go under that curve, that one that's slightly smaller. Right, I'll see you in a couple of hours when that's hardened up then. See you later. Okay people, so it is now dark, it is evening, so sorry about the shine on things. Now we're going to take the tape off. I don't think I'm as happy with this as I am with the bluey silvery one that I did for Eden. By the way, I'm releasing the video on that one before she actually gets it, because we're not going to see her for her birthday until after her birthday. But I'm relying on the fact that I don't think she watches my channel anyway, so that should be okay. Oh dear. Anyway, yes, I think using the tape method, I think I got this a bit more even. That's one thing that's better about this one. But my colours, no. The red has gone that beautiful coppery red. I think I should have gone with maybe a proper red pigment though, because I think that might be, although it's beautiful, it's not as red as I wanted it. Clang! Did you like that noise? Oh god, I hope that doesn't melt the inside. Right, so the outside, that gunmetal grey, it's actually come out quite well. There's a little bit of the silver come through. Can you see the shimmer? All of that silver around the edges and little bits of clearer there. I am going to have to do a bit of trimming here and there. Get my little snippers on, little bits that have gone astray like that. Yeah, you can see where I ran my stick through it to, you know, pull the colours back and forth. But then again, this is the bottom. So let's turn it over. Look, that bit is really not, mind you, should it be uniform? I don't know. That could have done with pulling this way somewhat, couldn't it? Maybe I can get a heat gun on it and pull that out. I don't know. Anyway, let's flip it over. Oh, actually, you know what? What was the back? It did look interesting. I was a bit miffed that it had gone off centre, but I wasn't impressed with the fact that I'd lost all my patterning in it. That the colour I wanted to be more red. I should have known. That's a beautiful colour, but it's not as red. It's more of a copper. Yeah, this is what it's more like. But I actually rather like it. I do wish I'd spent a bit more time getting these folds more just so. You know what, I bet come the summer if I leave this in my conservatory for a couple of hours, it'll go and it'll all go flat. And maybe I can have another go. But that bit there, which I thought really ruined it, I don't know what that looks like, a giant tadpole or something. Music note, it's a music note. Whatever it is. I thought that really was going to spoil it. But from this side it makes that kind of a bit of a weird flash. And what is odd, see how the red took over round this edge here? It went over, the outside's fine. It went over there. That's why I put more silver in, to try to avoid that. You know, I put some more silver in afterwards. But I don't think it matters. I think that's a nice flash of colour. And the way the floating silver, have you seen that? Can you see how the floating silver went crazy around the edges of where I pulled the colour out? And then I've got these weird cells that I wasn't expecting. I don't know, you know what, in a weird way I really rather like it, and I didn't think I would. I might make some more of these. See how the glitter came drifting down here as well, which I wasn't expecting. I just kept chucking things in, didn't I? I think when I did the blue one, I did the drawing the lines through it a little bit later on, And also the room was a lot cooler, so the resin was probably thicker. But the effect I've ended up with here is, I think it's rather cool. I like it. More than I thought I would before I turned it over, or when it was flat. So, I'm going to keep playing with these. See, that could do with coming in and that. Oh, it doesn't matter, does it? I know just the place for this. Anyway, yeah. If you haven't seen the video where I make the blue one, then I will put the link up here for you. It'll be over here somewhere. And also YouTube will tell you what it thinks you might like to watch next. So that will be over here as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you can give me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate that. Let me know what you think of my bowl. Does it matter that it went off centre? Does it matter that it isn't symmetrical and it's a bit not right shaped? But whatever. It's going to have a load of apples and bananas and things stuck in it. So tell me what you think. Thoughts on a postcard, as they say. And I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.